You're not doing your thing. You're not framing your face. You can't see it yet because you gotta scroll the screen up.
Am I live now?
You are live. 4 seconds. There you go. What's up, everybody?
Hey, everyone. We are coming to you from one of our kids' virtual school classrooms. So we're in a new setting today. Has anybody else given up the space in their home for school this week?
I mean, we both have.
2 whole rooms. We've given up 2 rooms of our home. Happy first week of school, everybody, here in Lee County, if you're watching and you have children. I hope it is going well. I know there have been technical issues.
For the virtual kids?
I think there
Probably some technical issues in the classroom
all over the place. If you are friends with me, Rachel Niesman, on Facebook, you will have seen a picture of my son. I captured him today at our house, stacking furniture in the middle of the work
chair
day.
On top of a chair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it, but
it's a boy thing.
I guess. I don't know. Someone piped in and said, hey, their girl does the same thing, so who knows?
All right, well, maybe it's not a boy thing.
Maybe it's an engineer thing. Maybe it's a builder thing. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. For those who are just coming on, Jerry and Rachel Niesman. Jerry Niesman.
Rachel Niesman.
Yes, we got that figured out.
The Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty.
Coming to you from our now given away classroom. Today we are talking about how much is my home worth. It is number 3 of 5 in an installment of videos about geared towards sellers, towards like the selling side of real estate. So we have talked about...
Let's talk about it Tuesday.
I love that we picked Tuesday to talk about it because it's also Taco Tuesday. And I want to know in the comment box, let us know if you want us to rename it Taco About It Tuesday.
I think we had this conversation before.
Nobody voted. Nobody likes the idea except for me. I'm going to keep pushing for it though.
Well,
Taco About It Tuesday.
That nobody likes it.
So
it just means nobody voted for it.
Yeah.
But nobody voted against it either.
Tell everybody how Talk About It Tuesday. How does it work? What are we doing?
So we're talking about something real estate related.
Yep. We are a real estate team, husband and wife, thick and thin, right?
Right.
Got thick today. It's a tough day. When you have 2 really strong personalities, it gets tough.
For those of you that know us, would you see that being the case?
Yeah, it got thick today, but we're working through it, and we're excited about it.
Hey, we're here together next to each other, smiling.
We still like each other.
Love.
If you see me not wearing my wedding ring, it's because I don't fit. It doesn't fit right now.
Because she threw it at me.
No, I didn't. I didn't take it off and step out of the room or anything. We're grown up, so we have grown up conversations. So we get together. We are a husband and wife real estate team. Jerry is the licensed realtor of the bundle. He has 10 years experience, sold over 500 homes here in Southwest Florida. And so he does everything related to today's topic is an interesting one. It's one that I cannot talk about, or one that I can. I have 2 hard and firm rules. It is Jerry's unlicensed real estate assistant who handles all the admin side of the business. 2 things I cannot advise upon. So anything that I say moving forward, here's my disclaimer with an asterisk. I don't know what I'm talking about. Do not take my advice. Only take his advice. He can talk about it though. We are talking about how much is my home worth. How do you come up with that number? Both you as a viewer and a homeowner or a potential homeowner and him as a realtor. We're going to break it down to 2 sections today. First, we're going to talk about you as a non-real estate professional and how you can figure out how much your home is worth. And then this guy over here is going to spill all his secrets about how he comes up with a value on a home. And so listen, let's talk a little bit real brief about who we are as a real estate team and how we're a little bit different from a lot of other realtors here in town. Kind of why we do talk about it Tuesday. And that is to real talk our people in our circle. And yeah, That's what we do, man. We're very open, honest, almost to a fault. We're not going to fluff anything. We're not going to ever fluff numbers on a home where if you feel like your home is worth $300,000 and we think it's worth $250,000, we're going to tell you kindly. We're nice people, but we are very real talk. And we are real talking here on Talk About It Tuesdays. So I am your voice. If you're watching us and you have questions about today's topic or anything real estate related, feel free to drop it as a comment and I will read it to Jerry and like when he gets a break in talking. Does that make sense? You good? Awesome. And so,
all right,
yeah,
so where are we starting?
Let's talk about it. How much is my home worth? Now, it's interesting because I'm on the first end of the discussion, which is I am an non-professional. I work in your office, but let's be real, I mostly write thank you cards and big pretty pies and give them to clients and make everything pretty and fun. But I don't know much. We were saying I can't talk about two things or do two things in real estate, which is I have nothing to do with contracts and I have nothing to do with numbers. The money side of it. I'm not allowed to give any money real estate advice. So I am a homeowner who doesn't know how much my home is worth. I genuinely don't. And we have owned our home since 2013. And so we're 7 years sitting into it. Every once in a while you come to me and say, hey, the money's real good. Let's refinance our house. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I'll sign my name. But if I were as a non-real estate professional interested in finding out how much the value of my home would be, I would consult Google, which is what I did at the beginning of this. So when we start,
you should call me.
Yes.
What you would probably do is consult Google, but what you should do is call me.
That's true. And I don't know that I would go to Google before I would go to you. But if I did go to Google and typed in how much is my home worth, which I did this in preparation for this video. I, as a homeowner who's not a realtor, a licensed realtor, I went to Google and typed in how much is my home worth? And I got like a bajillion pages up on Google telling me all different.
You got a bajillion pages worth of ads, basically.
Oh my God. The stack of ads was half of the first Google page. It really was. You're laughing, but that's exactly what it was. It's like promoted, promoted, promoted. There were a lot of websites, apps, electronic, put in your information, and I will spit out a value of my home. So let's talk about that and talk about whether it's useful.
So first thing, if you put in your information, chances are it will not spit out a valuation. It will send it to a realtor who will call you. You put in your information and somebody dials you and they harass you. And it might be us. And yes, you can go to our website and type in your information, realpeople-realestate.com, if you would like to know the value of your home in that. So tell me about these websites and apps. Okay. So they're all over the place. The most well-known common one would be Zillow.
Yes, Zestimate.
And
do we call it? Okay, is it Zestimate or Zestimate?
I don't know. It depends on who you talk to. I don't know how Zillow actually calls it. I don't know what they call it. I've heard a lot of people say Zestimate. I always thought it was Z-estimate.
It's like the first time
Z for Zillow, and it's the word estimate.
Has anybody heard a ad for VRBO?
Oh my God!
And the first time you hear an ad for it, don't sue me, Verbo. But my opinion. This is just my opinion. Nobody, don't come after me. One single person's opinion. But the first time I ever heard Verbo, it broke my brain. Right? It's awful, you guys. VRBO is better. But anyway, Zestimate, Zestimate. There's Zillow is one of the most well-known and well-utilized. It's the
and most hated by realtors.
Yeah, no, most realtors hate Zillow, and for a lot of reasons. In part, the Zestimate or Z-estimate has in some way made our job more difficult because it's like a formula, right? It's a mathematical formula.
It's just a computer generated. It's just an algorithm that, a computer.
That's the word I was looking for. An algorithm.
A computer generates a number based on what? Data that they have received from wherever they get their data from.
Okay, so I would imagine it would be like the home salary reports,
MLSs and stuff like that.
It's all of those,
but it's just numbers,
right?
It's not somebody actually looking at your home and saying this home is actually worth this amount,
right?
Because ultimately, the only two people that can truly determine what that home is worth at that exact moment is the buyer and seller.
Aha! So true. So
the number that everybody agrees to pay.
How much is my home worth? Is how much somebody will.
It's the number at which a buyer says I will buy it and a seller says I will sell it. It's where those two things meet. That is what it's worth at any given moment.
What about the appraisal?
The appraisal is an opinion.
Okay.
It's an appraiser's opinion of value.
Of how much the home is worth. But now, we're not talking about appraisals today.
That
we can talk about that another
correct.
time.
That it is supposedly an educated. We don't always agree. Realtors and appraisers don't always agree.
Don't sue us. Appraisers, listen, we love you, please.
We don't always agree. But it is an educated opinion, just like a number that I put on your house is an educated opinion.
Right.
It's not all being all knowing. I've put numbers on houses before where I said, I think it's worth this, and we sold it for this. And I've said, I think it's worth this, and we've sold it for this.
Right.
It happens sometimes.
Because it's worth however much a buyer is willing to buy it for. And you don't know that until it hits the market.
Whatever number you agree to sell it for.
And you don't know that until it hits the market, right? So all you're doing, so listen, tell me about, in the day and age of technology and information, how has your job as a realtor changed in this factor?
Well, so there didn't used to be technology to provide you with any data.
Nose estimates.
To collect the data and compile it to come up with a number. So it used to be, that was my job, was to collect the data, compile it, and then spit out my valuation. Now, my job, there's so much data and information out there now that my job is more of filtering.
Oh, sure.
And sorting that data for you, because you're going to go to Zillow, you can go to Redfin, you can go to, how many different
Ownerly and Home Value Estimator and realpeople-realestate.com and
right. Keller Williams are
everywhere.
We have our own system, our own digital system now that provides evaluation. There's a million different systems out there that will provide you a number, and they're probably all different.
So we think that.
So my job is to help you filter through those things.
Right.
And provide you the actual hands-on, eyes-on number based on my experience and education in the process. Because the thing that those digital systems can't take into consideration is how old your roof is versus your neighbor's roof. Where your house, your physical location of your property.
Are you just giving up all your trade secrets?
Sure.
Okay,
but they can't do all that stuff. They can't do a lot of the things that nobody, like I said, nobody is actually looking at your property.
So before we get to your secrets, in conclusion, to me, you are jumping ahead. In conclusion, to me, as an unlicensed, unprofessional. I'm not unprofessional. Let's reverse that back into my mouth. As a homeowner who is not a licensed realtor, who doesn't deal in contracts in the real estate money all day long, I don't have anything to do with that. Me as a homeowner, it's okay to get, if you're like, hey, how much is my house worth? you can go to these places like our website or Zillow or wherever, type in the information and get a good ballpark estimate.
Yeah.
It will still look at the data.
It's basically the start of a conversation. Don't look at those numbers that you're getting off of those websites and apps and that sort of thing. Don't look at that as, oh, this is what my home is worth.
Right.
This is somewhere in the ballpark of what my home is worth. Now let's have a conversation about it if you're curious about doing something with it.
Right.
Because really it's just a number on a screen. If you're not planning on selling your house right now, it's nice to know, but it's really just a number on a screen. Just like stock values.
Right.
Like, they don't really matter in your day-to-day life, even if you have an investment account. You know, we have investment accounts. I don't care what a particular stock is worth today versus next week, unless I'm going to sell it.
Right.
Or if I want to buy it. That's the only time the true value of it really matters. Otherwise, it's just, oh yeah, that's cool, it's good information. So those numbers are good to have a rough idea. If you're looking to go further with it, then let's have a conversation.
Right. So let's give away your trade secrets. So now we know what I'm doing as the non-professional.
Can I just say something that I've always found very funny? A couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Do you okay,
the CEO of Zillow sold his home.
Okay.
Now, this is a multi-million-dollar property, so you're talking big numbers.
Okay.
But the Zestimate, whatever you want to call it, on his own home, the CEO of the company, the number that his company put on his house, I can't even remember the exact number now, but I want to say it was like 1.6 million and he sold it for 1.25 or something like that. So, like, you're talking a $350,000, $400,000 swing.
Yeah, that's a pretty big inaccuracy.
Like a 25%. It was off by 25%, and this is the guy who's the CEO of the company. So like,
right.
Sometimes it can be fairly close, but don't take it as like this is what somebody's going to pay.
Right.
And Zillow doesn't do it here. But they do have an iBuyer program.
Okay.
Where they will actually, like, we always used to joke in the car business about, like, yeah, Kelley Blue Book says your car's worth this. But is there a buy it now button and you can click and sell it to Kelley Blue Book? Well, no, there wasn't. And so that's not what your car's worth. This is what it's worth. Because it's what we're willing to pay for it.
Right.
So we used to joke about that. But now, in reality, in certain markets, there is a buy it now or a sell it now button with Zillow. They will buy your home, but they won't buy it for that number.
Sort of like CarMax.
Yeah.
Does like, here's the amount. If you want to just sell it and not haggle or negotiate, type in these things and sell it for that amount.
Correct.
Is that how much you can sell it for on Craigslist to somebody else? No.
Right. So, so that's the reality of it is, even in the markets where there is a sell it now button, there really is, it's not the number that Zestimate or Zestimate actually is.
Zestimate. I think it's zesting a lemon every single time.
I know.
Zestimate.
That's why it drives me crazy to say Zestimate.
And hey Liz, it's good to see you. Thanks for saying hi. I'm glad you're watching. So yes, I can get a lot of information. When you're at the point of selling your home or thinking about selling your home, considering selling your home,
considering making modifications to your home that you're curious about, like, hey, we may want to sell in the not too distant future. Should we upgrade this or change that or do these different things? Call me.
Right.
Let's have a conversation, because I can tell you how those things will affect your property value.
His job as a realtor now is to make sense of all that information that you could find on Google.
Yep.
Once upon a time, realtors, you used to pay realtors to provide you information. And now the job of a realtor is to reduce the noise and allow you to make informed decisions without having to go do the work. And if you haven't if you're thinking about this and haven't watched our last week's Talk About It Tuesday, we talked about interview questions for a potential listing agent. And there's a lot of great information in that about asking them and to make sure that you get important questions answered when you go to interview your listing agent, because it relates to this in terms of how much is my home worth? That's the first question every realtor gets is, so how much do you think my house is worth? But we suggested your follow-up first question should really be the follow-up question of, how did you get to that number?
Right.
So we're going to tell you all of our secrets, not our secrets, his secrets. Because remember, if you're just joining us, asterisk, I am not discussing money or contracts right now because I cannot as an unlicensed assistant. And so he's going to tell you all of his secrets about how he, as an individual realtor, puts numbers on a home to answer that question of how much is my home worth. So what are some things? Obviously, most people know that you're going to look at the similar data that Zillow or any other website or app is going to put in, which is square footage, how many beds, how many baths, what kind of garage, stuff like that. And everybody is familiar with the word comps. Oh, we're going to look at comps, but you always say...
Most people are not familiar with it.
Oh.
You're familiar with it because you hear it constantly.
Because I'm educated.
But it's a real estate lingo term.
So what's comps? And why don't you like using it? Because you don't even like that word.
So comps is short for comparable sales.
Okay.
But it doesn't really fully explain it to people who don't have any experience in real estate. And
okay.
You know, if you own your first home and you've owned it for 15 years and but you've never sold a home before, you've probably never heard the term, or very infrequently in passing, somebody talking to real estate maybe has mentioned it or something like that. Yeah, if you watch a lot of HGTV,
yeah, you might know
stuff like that, you might have heard it. The way I like to phrase it is recent relevant sales.
Okay. So you look at recent relevant sales.
It's the same thing, but it explains it a little bit better in terminology for somebody who's not familiar.
And correct me if I'm wrong. When I've watched you prepare for a listing appointment where you're going to meet with a potential client to talk about listing their home for them.
Yep.
You're not just looking at recent relevant sales. That's not the only search that you're doing, which I feel like that's the search that the Zestimate and all of the Google and apps and things like that are doing. You're also looking at what? You're looking at recent relevant withdrawn contracts?
So I look at everything.
So tell me, what are the different categories?
So you've got active listings.
Which is what most people think of as comps, right?
No.
What? Oh, that's
active listings is what's actively on the market right now. Like what your competition is.
Oh, yes.
So if we list your house today, what are we competing with?
Okay.
What do the other homes look like? What are they priced at?
Yes.
Because what they sold for, you know, when like Zillow and all these Redfin and all these companies that come up with the numbers, they're looking at sales.
Which is what most people think
of as closed
recent
sales.
Relevant sales, yes.
So stuff that is sold recently and has closed, but what they don't take into consideration is they can't tell what your actual property, what it looks like, what the view is, what the age of the roof is, what the condition of the kitchen is, whether it's got carpet or tile floors. They also can't tell what those other homes down the street or a couple blocks over or in the next neighborhood sold for. They can tell what they sold for, and they can tell the square footage and number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and if it's got a 1 or 2 or no garage or whatever, but they can't tell the finishes of the houses because nobody is actually going and looking at those houses or even going and looking at the pictures.
Let me give you a for example that I know that we've experienced in specific neighborhoods. I have seen Jerry as a realtor have conversations with clients in certain neighborhoods and he will add or subtract money away from their home and what he thinks the estimate of the home is based on colors of cabinetry. No, I'm serious. For instance,
it's true because
it's so true. It matters. I'm telling you, Jerry, when you start looking at putting a value on your home, when you look at what else is currently on the market, and you have a gated community where half the community was built out with brown cabinetries and half of it was built out with white cabinetry, and what's hot right now is XYZ. If you have the golden egg and nothing is currently on your street or in that gated community with the golden egg cabinets, you might be able to ask a couple $1,000s more and justify that when you're showing it and selling it. And Zestimate or whoever the apps and websites could never understand that information. Does that make sense?
Yes.
To you?
Makes sense to me.
Does that make sense?
Hopefully it makes sense to you guys, because I have to explain it all the time. And
you just said, like, in a row, like 17 different things. So let's talk about home site values. You said where it's at in the neighborhood, whether in terms of a home site value.
Yeah, I mean, I have clients right now that want to build a brand new house, and so they're looking for a lot. And they want a specific neighborhood. So when I'm looking at the streets and the neighborhood and the streets going in and out, they want this lot to be in a section. They want a neighborhood, but then within that neighborhood, they want it to be in a pocket where there's only one way in and one way out.
Oh!
So things like that, because they feel that makes it safer.
If you are in a cul-de-sac.
It's less likely to have... So like cul-de-sacs, things like that, those different things can have an effect on the value of the property, even within the same gated community.
If you are close to your amenities.
Yep.
In terms of walking distance. If you are, like close to the golf course. If you are close to, if you are on a lake's home site. If you have a lake in your backyard. How close you are to a freeway. So there's home site values that can be factored in that you wouldn't know if you just put in an address. It's just going to read the relevant sales for like your basic community or neighborhood.
And they don't even always, most of the time, they don't take into consideration even like one neighborhood to the next. Or I'm looking like, right now, a lot of people don't even know that there's a part of Lehigh that's in city water and sewer. The vast majority of Lehigh is on well and septic. Well, I was running a search for somebody to see, like, hey, what should we offer on this house in Lehigh?
Sure.
Well, it's on city water and sewer. All of the recent relevant sales are on well and septic.
Right.
And they're like within a quarter mile of the house.
And that goes into...
But there's a big difference in value for that.
And that goes into history of neighborhood, history of community, and history of the home. Where, like, you look at a place like Cape Coral. Tell me about... Okay, so I don't know anything about this. There's probably people watching that know this 1,000 times more than me. Talk to me about Cape Coral, and there's always notices when I look at homes. It's like, assessments have been paid or whatever. Right. So tell me about the history of the home or the history of the city and that kind of stuff. So assessments in Cape Coral, I don't know what it means.
They're switching slowly but surely everybody from well and septic to city water and sewer. But you, as the homeowner, have to pay for that. So the city is paying the bill up front to get it put in. It's not optional. When they put it in on your street, you're paying for it regardless.
Right.
It's just a matter, it's going on your tax bill, and the question is, do you pay it all up front for a discount, or do you pay it on your tax bill over the next 20 years? And so there's a difference in value. And literally it could be one street to the next. Like they pick an area and say, we're going to switch this area over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, however long it takes them to do. If you're on this side of they come down the street.
Could you try again?
Ooh, his iWatch is talking.
Sorry, Siri's talking to me.
Bad Siri.
I'm not sure I understand.
Shut up.
Thank you, Siri.
Now you're going to make it listen again. Stop saying Siri. All right, anyways. So,
city water and sewer, attacking onto the
yeah, so they go down the middle of the street, but you could back up to one of those streets. So, like, you could be looking at a house here on this street that backs up to this street, and this street got city water and sewer, and yours doesn't.
And that's funny, Les. That's from the point of view of a buyer, but let's talk about being a seller. Say, for instance, you are like me, the non-real estate professional who doesn't do this all day, every day, and look at these numbers. Say, for instance, I wanted to try and sell my house for sale by owner, and I consulted the Zestimate. It's not going to factor in if your assessments are paid.
Right.
You could lose out on thousands of dollars.
You could list your home for significantly less.
Goodness, it's just crazy.
Than what it's worth, than what it's really worth, because you went off of that number. Or you could list it for significantly more, and you're wondering why nobody comes and looks at your house.
Right. And if you don't write it properly or list it properly or whatever. Okay, so we talked about home site values. We talked about you look at history of the neighborhood, current state of the market. So you do this.
We were talking about what the different things are that I look at.
Yes.
So recent relevant sales.
Yes.
What's actively on the market right now? So what is your competition?
Yeah. Yes.
Also, what is pending?
Yes.
So what was on the market and has gone under contract? What are people actually writing offers on right now?
Right.
Because that, especially in like today's market where it's a pretty strong seller's market, and prices are going up pretty quickly, what sold 60 days ago, that price may not be relevant anymore.
Right.
So what is the next one listed for that somebody just wrote an offer on 3 weeks ago?
Right.
But it hasn't closed yet. And sometimes we can pick up we can always pick up the phone, but sometimes we can get the listing agent to tell us what it's under contract for, and sometimes we can't.
But at least we can make the phone call and find out.
But we can get an idea, and we know where the market is, and if we know what's happening in the market, we can estimate, even if they won't tell us what it's actually under contract for, we can come up with a pretty good estimate because we're in it every day, so we know. So I have a good idea of what that house is probably under contract for in comparison to what sold already and where we should list yours.
And let's move on to our final category, which is kind of a big category of the things that you look at. So we can do a pretty good assessment.
We talked about that already, like 3 times.
On objective now? Oh.
Because we keep talking too much ahead.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead of your stuff.
So objective analysis of your home is one of the most important things that we can provide, or that you need help or assistance with in terms of finding out the value of your home. And it's something that we take very seriously. And we are going to talk next week in depth about, next week's Talk About It Tuesday is, how do I increase the value of my home before I sell it? We're going to go into the nitty gritty of return on investment of, if I put in, does it make more sense to replace my kitchen cabinets or just to replace the knobs from gold to silver? Does it make sense to do X, Y, Z? We're going to get in depth on how do you spend time and money to make sure it's going to increase the value of your home in our experience. But objective analysis of the home is going into a house and looking at it through the eyes of our buyers. So we deal with both buyers and sellers all day, every day. We meet with them. We talk with them. You may see it. Listen, we live in a world of security cameras. We have plenty of people who list their home who watch buyers go through and be like, ooh, I love this and I don't love this. your realtor should be the one to come into your home or do a video walkthrough. We do like virtual listing appointments now if it's easier because of the COVID and end of the world. But to give you an objective look at your home. One of the hardest things about selling a home is realizing that just because I watched my children grow up here doesn't make it worth more money. I have
the emotional detachment.
Which Jerry's great at, let me tell you, because it's business for him, right? Let me give you a for instance. I'm going to swing our computer for a quick second. Look at how I have our house painted. It's blue and yellow and white. Half of the room is one color. That blue stripe in the middle of our room is a giant letter N for Niesman. Nobody wants that. And so I would expect somebody to come in and be like, yo, listen, lady.
Somebody else with a last name that starts with the letter N may want that.
Nope. Nope, painted gray. So for somebody to come in and say how much your home is worth through the eyes of a potential buyer. Because at the end of the day, that's what we said in the beginning, right? That's what you said in the beginning. Your home is worth however much a buyer is willing to pay for it. And that's probably one of the best things. I saw an interesting statistic in my research for today's video. Renovations typically return 64% of your investment money. So if you spend $10,000 on upgrading your kitchen, the typical return is a $6,400 bump in your amount. Now, like I said, next week we're going to talk about like how does a pool improve it, or should I leave it here? Do people like this better? We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, and that's the average. So there's some things that are going to bring less than that. There's some things that are going to get you 25% of your money that you spent. There's other things that are going to get you 125%.
Right, and we're going to talk about that next week. But for the most part, if that's the average is 64%, if you put 10 grand into your kitchen and think it's perfect, and we tell you it only bumps the price 3 grand, that's based on how much that we think a buyer is willing to pay for the home overall in general.
Correct.
And I've seen you go through it on the recent relevant sales and take notes before you go speak with somebody about like, oh, this is something that Zestimate or the apps will never do. Again, it's about filtering out information instead of adding in information, where you're able to go look at a home and say, look, this sold 45 days ago, but it wasn't updated and yours is, and it should be this much more.
Right.
Or this sold for this much money, but did you see the spa in the backyard? That kind of stuff.
Right. Have you had it replumbed? You know, did it have polybutylene plumbing?
I can never say that.
Polybutylene. You know,
butylene plumbing.
Yes.
So that's a big problem in our world, in our neighborhood, and for people who
a lot of homes built in the late 80s to all through the 90s and even some of the very early 2000s were built with that type of plumbing, and insurance companies won't cover it. So you have to get your house replumbed. If you have a mortgage, if you're buying a house with a mortgage, it has to be replumbed.
Right, but again, let's flip over to the whole like, oh, let's for sale by owner it. Let's use a Z-estimate. If you use a Z-estimate and it doesn't know that you don't have the problem plumbing, poly problem plumbing. If Zestimate doesn't know that you have the poly problem plumbing, then they're going to give you a number, and then you're going to get into inspection. Like, cool, you get it under contract, but you get into inspections, and all of a sudden you have a $7,000 repair.
Yep.
It's
electric panels, roofs,
so much that
all of those things.
There's so much that can't be considered in an algorithm. So we're coming towards our conclusion of how much is my home worth. Please feel free to use our website, realpeople-realestate.com, and it says, give me a value of my home, and it'll spit it out the general ballpark. Feel free to use it. I don't hate it. It doesn't bother me at all. We're not people who hate the Z word, and I personally feel like having educated consumers is helpful. Yeah. Like you can have conversations, or like, you know, our
the only time it's a problem is if somebody comes to me and says, oh, well, this is the number that I got from this website, so this is what I have to get. Right. And
we have to real talk them.
Sometimes it's not accurate.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not accurate.
We're always polite about it. We love you. We're always polite. We rip the Band-Aid off, but then we're like, here's a little salve. So you can, emotionally detach. It's the phrase of the day. I can't wait to talk about, like Liz said here, she's excited about next week. They're looking at upgrades. I think a lot of people are right now.
A lot of people are looking at, yes, upgrading their homes. They're buying new ones.
All right. Yes, they are. No, a lot of people are thinking about upgrading because they're getting money back from a refi because rates are low, yep, or because they're stuck at home. I've seen a lot of amazing like COVID backyard transformations online, stuff like that. And so I think it's a great conversation. We have 2 more left in the Talk About It Tuesdays dedicated towards sellers. So in case you want to go backwards and check it out, they're on our YouTube channel, which is the Niesman team. And you can see all of our Talk About It Tuesday educational videos there. And so we did seller's market versus buyer's market. What are the definitions and which one are we in right now currently?
Yep.
Then we followed it up with interview questions to ask a potential listing agent, list of things that you can ask. And we encouraged you to interview several people or find somebody that you're comfortable with listing with. And then right now is how much is my home worth? Next week is going to be how do I improve the value of my home? And our following week is the 5 biggest mistakes that we see homeowners make when they're looking to sell their home. Like how you can avoid your missteps in the process and make it as easy as possible. Make that green.
Yep.
Once you get over the emotional attachment to your home, it really becomes about the money, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't care that my kids grew up here. If you'll pay me $1 million for my home, listen, you can have the kids. Take it with them. You want their classroom? Tell me if you want it painted or not. If you're going to pay me $1 million, let me know. So that's it.
Nosy neighbor.
I guess. We have people here. That's weird. Nobody. I don't know. Nobody ever comes to our house. Of course, it's Amazon. I don't know. That's so strange.
Rachel's looking out the window. That's like the first time she's ever looked at a car go by. She's like, wait, who's that? How do you know what the neighbor's car is? Like, because I'm a nosy neighbor.
I never see Amazon in our driveway.
Nope.
Strange.
Right.
Odd.
Which one of the dresses that you were looking at telling me about?
Oh my God, so many adorable Halloween dresses. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I can wear, like, listen, I'm at the point of, I bought like a straight up ball gown the other day. Like legit formal occasion ball gown. Nowhere to go. The world shut down. Nowhere. I have no ball. I gotta go. This first week of school situation, man, bless all of you. Bless all of you for hanging in there. Let us know in the comments or send us a text message or call us at 239-201-9583. I know, Amazon.
And Rachel still wants to know if anybody else besides her wants us to rename it.
Talk About It Tuesday. TACO. What if we did Taco About It Tuesday with tacos? That's kind of hard to eat and talk.
It is.
It might be a good way to get me to stop talking so much. Here, dear, eat your black bean taco. I'm having mushroom tacos for dinner tonight. He's not. Nope. Let me know also, too, if you would like mushroom tacos. Again, Niesman team, Rachel and Jerry, 239-201-9583. You can email us at jerryniesman at
Gmail.
Sure. .com. If you want to message me, I am the niesmanteam@gmail.com. You can send me an email there. And our website, as I said for the 72nd time, realpeople-realestate.com. You can check out our website and plug in that information if you want to. If you want to know the actual value of your home right now, just because you're curious cat, or because you're thinking about listing your home, give us a call and let us know. And I think that's it.
That's it.
Oh, I was going to tell the 5th. Oh, I already told the 5th. Gosh.
The 5th what?
The 5th seller video. I'm all over the place. It's mistakes that home sellers make.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Gosh. I've been waking up at 4 a.m. get ready for school.
Yeah.
Yay, homeschool.
Too early.
No, it's not homeschool. Let me say. I was on a Zoom call with Mia's virtual teacher today. She's 5th grade. Virtual Zoom call, first face-to-face meeting. This teacher shared her screen on our Zoom call to help us get set up and show us where to click on. I swear to God, her tabs were like a needle thin. She had like 800 tabs open on her screen. And I just wanted to send her like, here's a bottle of tequila and a gift certificate for a massage. Like, go enjoy. I don't know how they do it. It's not homeschool.
I don't know how you do it. You have like 100 tabs open.
I close it when I'm done with it. I close it when I'm done with it.
I can't function with with that many tabs open.
Anyway, we hope you all get through the first week of school. For those of us who are in Florida going back to school this week, we hope you enjoyed this and learned something.
Lee County, there's other people are already back in school.
Yeah.
Been back in school for a couple weeks in Florida.
Some people are just going back.
Yeah.
What did Collier do? Got any Collier County families? I think they went back last week.
Yeah, I think they went back last week.
My poor dog wants in so bad. You should hear Gus.
He's jingling.
Poor baby. I hear him jingling. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you soon. Don't forget to join us on Thursday for a home tour. Live Thursdays, 4 p.m. Not us. I don't go.
Just me.
I'm at home with the kids. Goodbye, everybody. We love you. I'm going to go like this and pose until